Om Aho. Rita con Chivane di Jackson Musso di Matapa con so de tata so ci ni person kan kele ya da sa tena ci ci va da kare de se de ci de se de ci ho yo re de sanji de que se de ran que se me yo de so de ja de kan de tomale de yo tata de mami ba ma de na de go so 마디 텔텔이 남도 자동 무슨 탐지 텔тел이요. 텔텔이 때 더자다 다더자다. 뎀니 제나더니 내가 프림바다 타탁 대왕 되었지. 단조강 망자성 들이다 뎀니 망보도 좀 하고 말이 자라거리 하고 말다 데닉니 좀 드니 알아게 잡는 것들도 소소라들이 요들 확장시라요 말이지. That's a demi, the next of the big is.
So we just spoke before about Chitin Sungern's a song, which is also in a song of impermanence and so on. And so, anyways, when the whole what's the main purpose of the explaining the Dharma and listening to the Dharma? What is the Dharma actually? The Dharma is something that transforms our mind. That's why the Buddha said, completely tame your own mind. So what is it that needs to be tamed? Actually, in the beginning, there is nothing to be tamed, because it starts with really believing in grasping at an I, a me that doesn't really exist. And then from that arise all the thoughts of attachment, aversion, and ignorance, and so on. So that is what needs to be tamed. And so basically for that we need a key. And there's two keys. And the keys are the keys to the temporary benefit and the ultimate happiness. And we can't have too many, because if we have too many like treasure houses and so many different keys, and then there's all these things and we don't know what to find where, it gets complicated. So there's just two keys really that we need. And now I'm just speaking from my own experience, and I don't have much learning or studying of the teachings. I'm just speaking from my experience, but what I can give you is two keys.
심진 장미 바깥 장미 바라 속말이 대성은 심지 망자를 인도로 되는 나도는 뭐가 나도를 이제 뭐서에 그래서 철 노드나들이 특파지는 속말 좀제 특파당 동당고 된바지 된바이는들이 된바이는 마디바 강이로 말 건데가 지탐지 그래서 내가 피파때 가래들 그것도 좀제를 하래 말이 내가 되는 다진인지의 마다가 바르데 이 비글로스들 라리 소되면 토바니 송네 문에 송타다데 철드나 남철에다데 라리 소되면 마찬가지죠 요 말이 라리 소되면 토마니네들이 동네 말에 답대도래 좀 조금 산지 비슷한 총송들 내니기 라리 야요래 가서 들이 대라데 동네 말에 다딘이 찍고 쳐버들 다딘이 찍고만 다 이비를 놓으실 거래 이비를 놓는데 채비바 예송요래 들랑이랑 놓는 데나 채비바 예는다니 강조를 되는데 사바 채비에 쏘고래 들나 로마 같이 가서 로데에서 로마 같이 가려고 로마 찍게 되나니 딱자도 거기 나 찍을 가르쳐가요 딱 저자 나 찍기도 가르쳐서 그러는데 사바 채비도 약수래지 그때 가르라는 양용들이 채비바 예는 사바 채비지 내백서는 배는 잡아 될 용지 가르쳐서는 내가 듣는 것은 코어되어 있네요. 데리다다 삼바당 행제 삼바라 뛰는 행제 연구요래 삼바라 뛰는 행제 용화에 되는 문제기 행제 실제래 데려 삼바당 뛰는 행제에서 데려 삼행제 삼제 삼제 이 행제라 되는 장은 별은 행제랑 신바제요 실제랑 신바제 강례들 들이 딱 그랬더니 매도 이제 번호 쏘차 데라서 봐 이거 따라 이거 때 단디치 볼래들 이게 될 랩이요 다디 랩이요 된도 도 차서 뭐요 그러다 답변은 무슨 미리적서 접하는 나더니 다 우리 뭐체 대대와 주고로 되나더니 그 좋아 매이 저들이 저도 차라들이 좋아 매이 좋아서 차요 드니 유목도들이 그 코아를 소리 그 유목만 톡들 레레라리 톡톡톡 참고요래 그 쪼르게 발라들이 세상 쪼르게 발라냐봐 세상 쪼르게 발라야다 들 타도 쪼르게 발라면 뒤sab게 동네지 just 동네 저도 야고서 유목도들 이 유목만 족지에서다 가서 설명이다 하고 설명을 하고는 걔들이 semel kima tade tenitel demban zin te sebuter de song ta bakcha ya song bakcha ya to te sebe tap ta kare de de ta te de sebe ta de bakcha sebe sego yo ya pero de ta paro de sama tok sa je de lam de paro de sama tok de yum mare ni mora so le pen ko ya shedan ni bo samba 이제 다디게 뭐 이제 봐 주전 노차가 뭐 주전 다 파르도스 막 독소주데 이 자와 남의 셈도도들 중요해 얘네들이 디셀을 뭐라 진시 기회 니분 송송래서 차소 용도 못지 마타 뭐 요새 받자라는 용송 디책대서들이 셈장마들 맞아와 소리지 그래서 상대는 그래 냠접 니라 자이송라 당시 노자 치고 이몽 노라 당시 냠접 니라지 세는 것서 하적 세와지 도포지나 대르기 담는 마시 세상만 가미 세와지 싸와요 다 같이 쓰고요 그 가가도요 별라 그래서 누뭐 되게 광절도요 광절도 제대로 데려가들이 누뭐 뚱대하고는 그 시합 간 거거든요. 시합 때 강의 용도 시합 때 저들이 조람 초청들이 시합 때 싸고 그래. 시합 때 강의 용도 시합 때 흥기래요 보여요. 삼발에 거래. 삼발에 강의들이 뺀다 타다면서 레좀 되는 시치고나 따다도 좀 대대방 무슨라고 생각하고 들이 이제 tinsu 송 다투 공부하고 대세는 좀 거래. 좀 기직 소실 안 하고 그래. 오, 또다 맞다 들어서 냠데 요래. 심직발에서 매샘다 그 심직발에서 혼자다 왜 수시에서 옹시. 오, 또뭐 저어좀 들어는 이제 들어라라 시당지 라라 사도 라라 삼제지 들어라 남만나서 라라 매에 대화를 하고 들어는 쭉만 뭐직바도 수지에서 무슨 레그스에서 레드 속에서 생각사서 들 지시되게 누구만 해도 하고 뒤쪽이는 뒤들이 삼바라 뛰는 삼들 이제 와가 있게 오 저는 삼바든 hinge데 단디의 처럼 따고요 뭐 삼hinge데 다른 대 도다고요 뭐 대하고는 다 둘이 대하고는 다 삼바든 hinge 줄을 집어가 다 하다스럼 간 거요 그래서 제가 저를 정말 하도 죽어요 뒤하에 며칠 당시에는 뭐 가을 며칠 남상 책가요 맞아 새도 초학하고 그래 그래서 가면서 초학하고 그래 제 심적이 뭐 따대리지 대를 미대를 뭐가나 대를 주 미대 콩을 가고 말이 생각을 뭐가 다 줄에서 손수 말이 콜마가 좀 가래리 나랑이 만약에 심적이 뭐더라 그 셈에 속도 뭐 셈고 속도 또 찾아 맞췄나 삼당이 셈들랑 딱 쳐고요 그래 그리고서 상지가 다 맞췄고요 그래 상지에 셈도 싸움을 잘해 대회들이 통화될 때 저기다 뭐 상지에서 개체 보면 삼티들 따서다 사지다서 로도나 맞아되게 이들이 쳇들이 싶으니 뭐 답존시가 와서 멀리들 못지 맞지 거라. 가시는 나야 저 놀러 좀 가면 땅은 멀리들 땅 자체 거랑 시작이요라. 말이들 도와줘 상상되는 배저 장성는 되는 장들 저거니 되나 멀리들 하다 톡가버리지. 뒤집어 하고서 생고 가야면 빠고 호모자는 하나만 이제 다시 버리지 들어도 뒤라 저 가면 때 그거지 저기 봐도 가려 가면 세늘래 세상도 와도 나타나 세상 주를 요래 얘네들이 세상이 내가지를 다 내가지를 타고 그러지 내가 같이 지를 타고 그때 갈거 타고 온다 오 매번 속자 동접 봐지 맘에 나와 줄 소나무축제도 오르버리 뭐지 밤에 사자를 쉐는 순간이래. 대로 순남시바다 사고 순남시바다 가려야지. 순남시바다 랑나핀바다 지나죠. 다 삼지 순남을 사오면 좀 삼지를 토대요. 대로 순남을 저서 사자부터 매 참만 잡으네. 매 같이 롱도 빵절 것들이고 약하고 같이 해서 야, 담배 출라들이들이 생기 잠에 발라 주좀 콜로콜 맥세터미 야, 담배 출러 이런 거리들이 배바다 대베 저 접시바 그래서 저 소나를 하래도 우리 때는 니 소나 싸고서 소나한테 가리리 소나 싸고 땅아로 좀 놀러 좀 상고야 말이지 말아래 배 기와 semna 샤바를 사도한테 제게베 저 이때 참 장매 받대 삼지 나중에 뭐 저거 야 제일 제일 많은 거란 게 생수랑시 말하면 세례 가서 말이지. 세례가 사와도 쏘고 말이지. 강지 대하지 못하나 쏘나. 또선 지대는 못해 나도 저 강은 로치 강을 집어치 봐래. 밤에 베티나 대화제 틀때 비에 쳐보게 돼. 설루가 사와도 남 생부터는 거래. 생 타과리 사지에 밤에 생고만 대박해 죽다고 지나 대라더니 나고를 쏘아대고 그거를 사자짱 그래 저 술렁시 받아 대래 돈을 대래 술렁 위주에 하고는 생고만 대박이나 대술렁이지 대선 생고만 대박이 로도 그래 야고를 대박을 줘도 그래 상태세 말고를 들이지 이좀 도와를 니게를 줘도 그래 이게 삼바시 받아야 돼. 실제로 동네에 하고 그래. 동네에 랑토를 냈네. 랑테다 우리는 동네 소화 가려고 살이. 다 따서서를 가려고. 대사로였더니 등문이 다 사지가 파마 맞으면 직장 매서 말이지. 사지가 파마 맞으죠. 다 땡기니 가지. 다 파마 맞으면 땅 가려야 되는. 장 말이 샘이 소리 샘이 이어 말이. 나중에 이어 말이.这个社会原因里头的，你在那路绕路干啥干？你也得到路叫让我的，这跑马故事吧的，跑马的了，跑马上这没的，没人的嘛都有嘛了，这个上这的我的跑马的，多几个人这个有的，这把就真是我个跑马的上这没的有的，琢磨了上这没的有嘛了，琢磨了，这都让看了上这就把上这的问题呢。나 상태지 되지. 오 상태지 받으면 되지. 제일 대다수는 노를 생긴 당시 좀 참아지고서 세고 이제 때마다 문제들이 좀 되었더니 파마 맞이가 지당 내가 들랑 그래서 좀 파마게 시선 대답을 내나 만나서 사는 대답을 로요리 대답을 이제 또 다시 상마다나 들이들 문제 세면이 동네 소화를 걸 다지니 삼발해 줘라. 대를 당에 사지게 땅 새끼가 땅을 두고서 이제 감성송을 감성되게 다 제가 고로서 삼로도 땅에 말했지. 들이 대답에 동해를 살던 동해 시발사 문이 감성 동해도 센터를 쳐와 이런 거 동해서 잘 들이 피면 타도 가리래 시트거리 오래 속자자다 보자 타고 말이지. 이런 말이지. 세속도 말이 남 생소를 했지. 생존 생부 나중에 되니 고생 유목을 내서 알아서 대라들은 세도 사바세비 받지는 혹시 나지 나를 그 사바 지답지와 대선을 혹시 나지 매봤다고 하고요. 나지 셋고요. 그래서 별로 장소지 차로 차들 때차 사고 대들어오려고 차고 체그들이 좀 차트고요. 그래서 제가 동답 좀 되겠더니 되게 쉽게 그래. 랑그 사바테 사바타고 용tin지 삼바 용나 또 차타들 또 사바 또 차들 통나 그 강행을 오 다들 동해서 손내더니 다들 동해서 좀 두고 다들 행기지 그래. 소차디 대도 처와 가리는 오 내를 대치를 빈건 내들 빈도 삼는 다시 시합되요 그래. 오 가르칠 패배도 가르쳐 놓고도 내가 시합들을 마크 퍼 집에 되어왔대. 그 시합을 들이 당민지 요래 당 삼바 요래 라고 세고 준 거래. 이번에 행기 요래 니ger 들이 시합 이 보고 딱 보자 때 피부 딱 남바 나서 내가 믿으라서 봐. 되게 제도 이 행기 요래 시합 배우지. 그 가르쳐서 오 삼바를 때는 행기 제거래. 니ger 때는 이게 내서 하고 그래. 내설 때는 뒤 삼바는 삼바는 되는 게 때문에 인기 축복치는 도시야. 뭐 다른 것도 별로 차나. 그래서 내가 이제 감내나 내가 걸어서 왔다는 소리 차사 자고 요래 삼바들 되는 게 에이시나 하고서 삼세들 되면 삼세지 배주는 거 째와디 이제 하고는 될 때는 삼바를 되는 게 맛이 말이 되더라고요. 그래서 삼시라고 인기 찍고는 인기 경험도 차대. 다른 차사만 보자면 제걸로 들이 가르만 보자고 대답이 삼바도 인기가 싶어. 삼바도만 좀 인기 대답 좀 되래. 그래도 삼바도 삼바도나 들이는 것이 로마적인 라면에. 나그 삼바처럼 야라 삼바를 kokku가를 차서 야라 삼바를 삼바를 차로. 다들 니 삼바를 이렇게 자세히 들이 즉디 속기 속이 속차하고 이따라 못하잖아. 들이 삼바 차를 내려들이 삼바지 때문에 뭐 가지고 콕콕콕 배달아 담들래. 내가 뒤시 봐요. 상태에서 제가요. 내가 언제 내면 삼바 세미 거기서 하도 기침보다 때는 너무 해지. 그 삼바를 뜨는 게 제가도 내가 모두 삼바인지.
So, Chitin Somgön had said that if you haven't gained complete certainty in karma, cause and effect, then any talk about profound emptiness is but a lie. Our karma being emptiness is but a lie. So we need to gain certainty in karma first. So there are 84,000 different afflictive emotions, and in fact they can each be combined with each other. So there are limitless forms of afflictions, just as there are limitless sentient beings having appeared in limitless aeons. So there are just too many if we were to count how many sentient beings there are and how many afflictions and negative thoughts there are. But in brief, it all comes down to in the teachings on the vehicles, the different yanas. It says there is first the vehicle of karma, and then ultimately there is the vehicle of emptiness. And there's really, even though there is so many, there's really no Dharma teaching that is not included within just the twofold truth. So the temporary benefit depends on karma, which is the relative truth. On the temporary relative level, we perceive a duality of self and other due to self-grasping. And until this has become purified, altruism is most important. And that is why we begin with the 37 bodhisattva practices. And actually all the teachings are included in the 37 practices. So now speaking from an experiential perspective, what is it that we actually really need to put into practice? It's really just the 37 practices. There is nothing not included in that. And even within that, in one verse, everything is included. And that verse says, all suffering without exception comes from wishing for one's own happiness. The perfect Buddhas arise from the altruistic mind. So these two sentences are like the two keys that have been placed into our hands. So if we want to become free of suffering, we need to free ourselves of self-grasping, and we do that through the altruistic mind, the four immeasurables. And I'm speaking just from my own experience. The four immeasurables are really actually most important, and within the four immeasurables, which one is most important? It is immeasurable love. Actually, there were several disciples who asked about that, and one specifically said, like, give me one thing to practice continuously. And I said the best thing is to cultivate immeasurable love. And I'm speaking from my own experience. That is the key that you need to hold in your hand. It is the four immeasurables, and within that it is immeasurable love. So it's the key of love. And so what's the quality of love? Even the slightest happiness in samsara comes from love. And from love arises real compassion. That is a real, authentic compassion. It is a compassion that is imbued with love. And there are different forms of compassion, actually. There's also just the ordinary, the ordinary compassion. For example, that is, you care for one specific thing, like there's one nice flower, or one nice thing, or one nice animal, or one nice person that you're attached to. So that's this like affection that you feel for this object is because of self-grasping. So it is attachment. This kind of compassion is related to attachment. And not mainly actually that is a characteristic of us human beings. Mainly the cause of birth in the human realm is desire, or is kind of attachment, which arises from the ordinary compassion. And so each of the six afflictive emotions creates its own form of samsara, and attachment creates the experience as a human being. But then each of the six afflictive emotions can also be combined with each other, so there are many afflictive emotions. So, for example, but if one's main afflictive emotion is anger, then that mainly leads to birth in the hell realm. Or if it is mainly greed, one takes birth as a hungry spirit, and so forth. Or if it is mainly jealousy, one takes birth as a demigod. And so the afflictive emotions must be recognized within your own mind, the causes that lead to those states of existence. So when you recognize that, then the moment these afflictive emotions arise, you will instantly recognize them. So it is because they arise, and ordinary people believe in the truth, the reality of that thought, and then that thought remains within their minds. And if the thought remains within their minds, then this is how the karmic imprint is created. So this is how we form karmic imprints, by allowing our thoughts of believing something to be true to remain within the mind. And then how can we purify them? It is also through the mind. The mind has to clear them away. The Buddha taught the path of the 6 paramitas, each of which is an antidote to one afflictive emotion. For example, the antidote to anger or hatred is love, or the antidote to clinging attachment or self-grasping is generosity, or the antidote to desire is ethical discipline, and so forth. So the root of purifying the mind is within the 6 paramitas. They are each an antidote to one afflictive emotion. And they need to be applied the moment these emotions arise. In the 37 practices, it says, when one is armed with the weapon of antidotes, when the soldier of mindfulness is armed with the weapon of the antidote, it will slay or cut the emotions the moment they arise. So you have to you have to eliminate them the moment they arise through mindfulness. So this verse in the 37 practices, I encourage you to really remember it. So that is really what pollutes the mind, is that when we allow that these emotions remain within the mind. Also that is mentioned, for example, in the smoke offering, when it speaks about what is cleared away through the smoke offering is the various like obscurations that arise from transgressions and harm doers and enemies and so forth. All of this is cleared away. And what it really is that clears it all away is great love. And so we get angry at people for all kinds of different reasons, all kinds of conditions that lead to a disagreement. Even though actually we love the other person a lot, we still get angry at them all the time. And so then actually when we keep repeating that over and over again, then eventually this love will be dissevered. This bond of love will be destroyed. And people might even kill themselves or they just go separate ways. And that's because they have become controlled by the afflictive emotions. So in that moment when that happens, when the affliction arises, most important is that you recognize it, and then next that you see the fault in your own afflictive emotion. And how do you know that? You know that because of wisdom. You possess awareness. So this wisdom is something that you need to, this clear awareness is something you need to sustain in all your activities continuously. And actually, where does it arise from? Wisdom actually also arises from compassion. And as we said, compassion arises from love. So therefore, it arises from love. First of all, you love others, and then actually that leads to wisdom, which then believes in or trusts in karma. So it all depends on love, actually. And also, this one quote by Jigten Sumgön from the Gongjik is also one that I encourage you to remember and bear in mind, and that is the one where he said, cause and effect is the natural manifestation of one's moment-to-moment thoughts. So when you understand that, you really reflect on that. You think, for example, now in this world we have animals and humans living together. We look different, but our mind is the same. Our karma is different. And so why do they look like that? Who is responsible for it? They did it with their own karma. It's the karma mainly of ignorance that leads to birth as an animal. But then there's different kinds of animals within that. There are some animals who are more aggressive, and then there's other animals that are much more gentle and loving. And then there are some animals who have it even better than human beings. So there's all kinds of different animals, actually. And so all of this variety is due to karma. And karma arises from within the mind. So when you reflect in this way, you develop a mindfulness. And a mindfulness recognizes your own afflictive emotion the moment it arises. And then next, it recognizes the fault in that affliction. And it recognizes the quality of love. So love then remains kind of the basis of all your action. And so generally, as we said, love and compassion are like the warmth that melts the ice block of self-grasping. So in brief, if you want to be happy, you need to cultivate love and compassion. If you, in the moment where you feel very loving, you feel extremely happy in that moment. Or for example, if you come close to a person that is very loving, that loves you very much, you immediately feel very happy. Whereas if there's a person that you don't like, actually, if there is a mutual dislike, then not a single word needs to be spoken. You will immediately feel exactly how the other person feels about you, and they will feel how you feel about them. So there's a mutual knowing of how the other person feels without having said a single word. And that is actually a sign that our minds are really one. So, for example, if there's a person that you don't like, then you naturally have this thought in your mind. First of all, you think, he doesn't like me, I don't like him. And when you think this way, you have already created karma. You've already accumulated karma. So if you really think about it more carefully, like what is it really that I don't like? Why is it that I don't like the person? Our minds really are the same. And that is why he will feel what I'm feeling, and I feel what he's feeling. Instantly, the moment you feel something about someone when you're in their presence, they will also feel that. And it's just we don't recognize that. And the Buddha has recognized that through this feeling that our minds are actually one. And having recognized that, the Buddha had purified his own mind. And so for that, love in the beginning is really most important. And this is really where we begin with the path of the 4 thoughts that turn the mind when the Buddha first taught. Now, first the Buddha taught the 4 thoughts so that we let go of our clinging attachment to this life. That is why we learn about, for example, how difficult it is to find a precious human body. Now, some people who don't understand that, they think that my life is worthless, I'm so poor, I have nothing, there's nothing worse than me, and then they even want to kill themselves. But actually, if you really think about it, how hard it is to find a precious human body of the 6 grams, you will see that no matter what circumstance you're in, you still have a precious human body. For example, we reflect on the difficulty of finding a human body in terms of its causes, in terms of illustrations and numbers. And of these 3, especially when you think about the numbers and the causes, you really will understand how hard it is to find a precious human body. And if you only understand that, you will think that even though I'm poor and have nothing, I have to ask for alms, I still have a precious human body. And then why is it that I'm so poor? It is because of the karma of greed or stinginess. And where is that greed now? It's still now present in my mind. So there are some people, for example, that naturally, whatever they do, they are successful, they get what they want. And then there's others who, no matter how much they try, they never get anything. And so why is that? It's because of merit. It is said in the Sagya's words of advice that the accomplishment of one's wishes without merit are effortful, and they are fleeting like a flame, a butterland flame in the wind. Whereas when the accomplishment of one's purposes of someone with merit, who possesses merit, is like the sun shining. It just happens effortlessly and naturally. So if you have merit, then things naturally fall into place. Therefore, we need to accumulate merit. And so what is it again? Through merit, we will find benefit. We benefit ourselves, and it leads to the happiness of others. And the root of merit is only love. That is what we need to accumulate. That is that cause of merit that we need to accumulate. For example, there are some people who have a lot of merit. For example, they are very wealthy, and they're able even to help whole countries and so on. And then there is other people in the Dharma, for example, who are able to turn the wheel of Dharma to limitless sentient beings and open the eyes to the Dharma for limitless sentient beings. So there are many beings who are able to bring about limitless benefit and happiness of others, whether in the world or in the Dharma. And the reason they are capable of doing that is because they have merit, they have accumulated merit. So therefore, if you find yourself in a place of impoverishment, don't think that I'm so poor, I've nothing I can do, there's nobody worse off than me. Don't think that way, because you still have a precious human body that you can use to practice virtue, to practice the Dharma, to eliminate self-grasping. And so therefore, when it comes to accumulating merit, it's not about your outer abilities, what you can do in the outer world. It's not about your activities of body and speech as much as it is your mind. Also in the prayer of Sukhavati, it says that it is a greater benefit to pray to the Buddha Amitabha and Devachen with faith and joining your palms than it is to offer the billionfold universe filled with precious jewels to all the Buddhas of the 3 times. So it is of greater benefit to have faith. For example, if from the bottom of your heart you join your palms in faith to Amitabha and to the Pure Land, for example, then that is merit. That faith that you feel for the Buddha is actually a mind of love. And if you have faith and devotion, you will pray with your speech, and you will prostrate or join your palms with your body and so on. And that is merit. So when your love is directed toward the higher beings, it becomes faith or devotion, and that's how you accumulate merit. And so it's like electricity, like light. When the light of love is sent to the higher beings, it becomes devotion, and when it is sent to the sentient beings, then it becomes compassion, when it reaches the beings of the 6 realms. So with love, it is through love that you recognize the suffering of others. You become aware of sentient beings' suffering. When you really love them, their suffering comes to you, and you feel the suffering. For example, you think that how would it be if I would have to suffer this on my body, and so on. So you think in this way, or if it was my own parents, and so on. Because most people love their parents, and the Buddha said that's why we begin with our parents, and then we reflect that there's not a single being who has not been our parents. And there are countless sentient beings. But then you don't have to focus so much on the number, because then you can think that there's just too many sentient beings. So don't think about how many sentient beings there were, but think that ultimately the basis of our mind is one and the same. Self and other are inseparable. So we are really one. And in all these lifetimes, we have taken birth in every kind of existence in the 6 realms of samsara. And at that time, you had parents who really loved you. And then you think that everyone has been such a parent. And no, you start with your parents or your friend, and then you expand that. Actually, Jigten Sumgön had said, most people love their parents, but there are some people who do not love their parents. And if you don't love your parents, then there's no one who wouldn't love like their boyfriend or girlfriend. So then you think of them, the partner that you love very much. So the point is that first you have to recognize love. This is love, this feeling of love. And then reflect that the mind of all beings in the 6 realms of animals and humans and so on is one and the same. Then you really begin to understand karma. And for example, when somebody has died, that a loved one, like a parent or a friend, you know that they go on and driven by karma, due to various karmas that they have created. So think in this way. And so then think about their suffering so that a real feeling arises in your mind. This is then how love actually arises. And from this love develops real compassion. We speak about the limitless sentient beings in the 3 realms of samsara, but it all really comes down to a single mind. And when you think about their suffering, the suffering should come to your mind. That's why the Buddha said in the beginning, you have to recognize suffering, and so that a real feeling arises in your mind. And then what's the benefit of that? Because you might feel that, how can I help them all? Even if I feel all their suffering, like I can't help all the ants and all the different sentient beings. But again, it's not about the body, it's the mind that's most important. So why do they suffer? They suffer because of self-grasping and their karma created, driven by afflictive emotions. So since the root is self-grasping, what do they need? They need love. So if I cultivate immeasurable love, that will help them diminish self-grasping. The stronger my love, the more I will diminish their self-grasping. For example, it's just like the more love you have, the more hot is your water. and if you pour it over the ice block, it will melt. Even if it's just a little bit of hot water, the ice will get somewhat melted. It will get somewhat cool, warmer. And so ultimately, therefore, karma really is related to the ultimate truth. And if you trust in that, when you really begin to trust in that, you begin to see the quality of love. So when you really love others, and then you, for example, see an animal that suffers, then you see, first of all, you are aware of their suffering, and you see, oh, I see how they suffer, and I want to help them, I want to protect them. So from that love arises compassion. And then you recognize, because you love them and you care for them, what it is that makes them feel well, and what it is that makes them feel be in pain. So with wisdom, you know what is good for them, what will help them or benefit them, what will harm them and what will benefit them. It is just like a mother who is caring for her child. Because she loves the child, she also possesses wisdom, knowing what it is that she needs to do to benefit and not harm the child. And so from love, first love arises, and love is really what transforms your mind. Second, from this love arises compassion, and then from that arises this compassion, which is infused by love, arises wisdom. And with wisdom, you know what to do to help others. For example, a mother knows how to take care of her child, how to treat the child when it's ill, and so forth. So therefore, from compassion arises wisdom. And so with compassion, you become aware of the situation of others, what it is that they go through. And that is not the ordinary compassion. That's the compassion that is imbued with love, that comes from real love, loving care. Otherwise, if it's just ordinary compassion that doesn't arise from love, then it's just related to attachment. For example, then it just arises because you're attached to somebody's beautiful body or beautiful voice and so on, like an animal, for example. Or in a worldly sense, for example, in samsara, that's why people often get married. And so if you understand this point of possessing compassion that is imbued with love, that comes from love, then this love, when both understand that, then this love will be so strong that you will be able to spend the rest of your lives together. You will not separate. So that is when the compassion arises out of love. And so then naturally, you will be able to stay together. Otherwise, if it's just a compassion that is not really coming from a kindness or a feeling of love, then it just becomes ordinary attachment. And there's many people who, for example, get married just based on an ordinary desire, and then they get married maybe many times in their life, and they always experience difficulties, and then they separate. And the fault of that is that they do not have a compassion that is imbued with love. So think about love. Actually, I had one disciple who once said to me that it's not just even people that he loves, but he even feels affectionate towards inanimate objects. Like there's this feeling of wanting to be gentle with them, with even objects. And just seeing an object, he feels love toward the object. So leave alone having love for sentient beings with or without a body, he even felt great love for an object and treated the object with great gentleness and kindness. Because normally that's not how we treat objects. We treat them completely mindlessly, and we just slam doors and so forth. That's actually also related to mindful awareness. So hold on to mindful awareness in your activities. So anyways, this is the first key. The first key is the key of love, and I'm speaking from just my own experience. From love arises compassion. So the first key is the key of love.
참아 잡아 재미를 참게 요래 dimbayo chachonyo zobayo tundriyo 드니시네 그 something at change요래 다 토게 디와라더니 따따다 랑 따와라더니 태솜에 바탕제가 따오면 야는 서로 따오는더니 니지메 버선 네 그가랑을 지금아주가 상통가 따와대 저티시요래 때를 뒤들 끼찍끼 야오나 드니다다 사지쇼 따따바가 따바티는 도고는 좀 탕지 something 통이 좋나 감성 가면 만나면 쏘시면 되도지 파티시피 장미 받으니까 다다 세분 내로 돌아들은 포악은 초야 되리 아무 대책이 못 대가랑 랑랑 못이나 대가랑 랑랑 상계를 게임을 했었거든요. 자리에 상계면이 랑 셈지 제이 두성 상계랑 셈는 이거 그래. 때때도 다 토게 대화랑 셈이 내로 수도도는 다 토게 대화 보전에 받다 대가랑 그래지. 이 주로는 말들은 메다가 또
So, all temporary happiness comes from love. Everything is included within love. From love, for example, come generosity, ethical discipline, patience, also diligence, and shamatha, meditation. Everything is included within that. And the ultimate happiness comes from abiding within the view. If you understand the view, the nature of the mind, you become free of doubts. So when you rest within the state of the view, the nature of the mind becomes free of dualistic thought. And that is the view, what we call the view of Vipassana, that we often speak about. So if you just are able to rest within that view for a single moment, the benefits are inconceivable. The Buddha, for example, said in the Great Liberation Sutra, he said, it is of greater benefit to rest in a single session of meditation than it is to save the lives of all sentient beings in the three realms of samsara. Or, for example, the bardo sentient beings. When they see the nature of the mind, that is said to be the supreme power. It is because they recognize Buddha nature. And so this is how we attain enlightenment. We must attain enlightenment through our own recognition. Milarepa also said that at the root, you cannot find the Buddha anywhere aside from your own mind. If you want to find the Buddha, look at the nature, the characteristic of your own mind. You will not find the Buddha elsewhere. So that is the ultimate reality, or the key of the ultimate reality. When you realize the nature of your mind, you will experience unchanging, lasting bliss. So, Dharma friends, this is my mandala offering to you today.
대바지 자체 뭐 대바지 상지 용어들이 되고래 딱 감정 법에 잠소지 니는 타바타도 상지 봐도 솔직히 하고요 말이 상지 찍고 하고 그래 그 상지까지 주습지 상지에 당이 발해서 다 상지에 지나대 상지에 지는 뭐 치료하서 되잖아 그러니까 들이들이 그래 지지로 따래 백기 쳐버려야 돼 대바 동그라미 탁계들 강사제 대바 쳐버려야지 대바 당한 것들이 이런 지지고래 상지야.
And so then, adding on to this quote by Milarepa from before, that you cannot find the Buddha elsewhere aside from your own mind. Then there's one line that follows that, and that is that when you cultivate faith in the higher beings, compassion arises. That's really significant. That is when a pure view and faith arises for higher beings, from this actually arises compassion, meaning that the greater your pure view is, the greater your compassion for beings will be. In other words, if you cannot give rise to faith and a pure view toward higher beings, you will not be able to cultivate real compassion for sentient beings. Therefore, faith is really extremely precious. And having faith means that you remember the qualities of the Buddha. So what's the quality of the Buddha? There is no one but the Buddha who knows how to liberate sentient beings from the ocean of samsaric suffering of the three realms. No one but the Buddha knows that. And how many Buddhas are there? There are limitless Buddhas in the three times. And so when you really understand that and you think of the Buddha, it brings tears to your eyes. And when that happens, it's really a sign that you trust. So faith is extremely important. It's actually really most important of everything. If you have faith and a pure view, from that only real compassion will arise, and that's why it is really most important. So again, faith and pure view, it means that you always remember the qualities. You have to remember the qualities of the Buddha.
그래서 담을 건범데 나이 잘 로고들이 착하지 있는 둘에서 요리 대사전하는 걸 남탄 철리는 이건잖아. 그때서 조랭은 쪽 주도된 지지 로마편도 조랭견에 빼야고요. 조랭견에 뛰다니 그 다다지 책대에 조랭이고요. 야들이 내가 타톡 가서 팽도 하고 이 두기체들이 주제에 여기가 동어리 내가 다섯 개 팽바지 때문에 필대 조건 이제 뭐 나사지 때만데 편지 탐생 조건 내뭐 하고는 진짜라 주로도 뭐 다시 될래
So then when you, for example, read the 100,000 Songs of Milarepa, and you come across a quote, a teaching that really touches your heart, then you take that out and compile it and then organize a discussion group, or kind of a session on that, and discuss it with the other disciples. That would be really excellent. For example, just these quotes we mentioned now, actually, they provide an excellent topic for discussion groups. So through them, you understand what's the temporary benefit and the ultimate happiness. So anyways, thank you so much for organizing this teaching on this topic, on the temporary and the ultimate happiness and the benefit. It's really very beneficial to know that, because now we understand that really the Buddha's teachings are the only source of all benefit and happiness. So Dharma friends, Dashi Delek.
지는 같이 어떻게 주절하성 들이 삼바 건데 토마들이 랑 세당지를 제거는 들이 뒤지거라 자요 나는 자서를 저 내가면도 자서양면도 자도 토마도 들이 대다버리들이 랑 세당지를 제 하자까지 보고 거리 이제 배송을 제로 접세 파톡단지 본동 다 많이 가요 갭돌 적고 짜송 하자자 아침부터 다지를 뛰는들이 마시라 이런게 방마다 제도 대담도 답체 차소는 대다다 지어다는 저리 다다되나 내 탐지 민망 더나는 이제만 배송을 세상 답에 득밤이지 그래서 세당지 내가 상응인데 그때는 자 세당지 내가 조고는 알림을 자리 서디를 이쪽만이 짝지면 세당에 임쳤들이 세당 소문인데 톡지치성 나내 짝지치성 세당 혼인데 톡지치성은 다들 다소 봐 공식을 이제 전부 요래 하다가 뭐 뒤집어져 뒤수고 그 총을 자자요래 대도나 쳐버리 델라티니티 자와까마 바케 가주 쩨투가 고라 다당만 야고 동세리 동 투몽만 이바이바 따테리 들이 다시 들이요.
Actually, one important thing that I forgot to mention that I want to mention, and that is how we cultivate love. Actually, the best way to cultivate love is to cultivate love first for the one that you dislike the most, the one that you feel you're very angry with. That's the one that you must cultivate love for. And this is what, for example, I have done. And now in this world, I can't find a single enemy. There's not a single enemy, even if I wanted to find them. In this way, you cannot find an adversary anymore. So you have to bring to mind that person that really makes you angry, the person that you really don't like, and then think that this person is actually most kind to you. The kindest person is that person that really triggers your anger. Jigme Lingpa had said that the enemy that obstructs you actually is like an enhancement or a stepping stone in your practice, and all blame and abuse are actually an encouragement to practice virtue. So when there is an enemy, first you have to think that in a previous life, this enemy has been a very dear, loved person, like your parents or a friend, with whom you have broken samaya, and as a result, they now appear as an enemy. But you actually should see the afflictive emotion in your own mind. The 5 afflictions are like a disease in the mind. So Milarepa had said there is no greater negativity than anger in your mind, because anger is the seed of the hell realm. And you need to get rid of the anger. And the way to get rid of it is by letting it come up to the surface. So the enemy that brings up the anger is actually like your doctor who performs a surgery on you and takes it out. Otherwise, it stays there inside of your belly, and you can't take it out. No one can take it out but your enemy. And so therefore, you will feel grateful and say thank you to your enemy. All those who trigger your anger, you will say thank you to them. You feel sincerely grateful toward them, because you see them like a doctor who heal you. And when you see them in that way, then you will be able to practice patience. So that's extremely important. So that is why in our opening prayer in the beginning, we put Jigten Sumgön's aspiration, where he puts the enemy in the very beginning. So we cultivate compassion for the enemy first. And that's extremely meaningful. And that's also why, for example, Holiness Karmapa, he took that prayer and put it into their general prayer book, also in the beginning, because it is so meaningful. So that is the one thing I wanted to mention, Dashi Delek.
사실은 제가 폴지는 돈을 내 조사 전부도 즉지소 지는 통초보 조용은 사실은 제가 우리들이 통초거리 내가 사지 지수진 바까리 근데 사지 그 폴을 취지지 뭐 왜지는 통해서 사지 지역에 삼재거리시 지는 돈을 삼재한테 몇대 삼재지는 줄은 들들 용아 있음 사와들이 라미 개월 차로 개념 지수진 바들 사지 지수진 바 취지수진 바 개념 지수진 바들 소소는 되게 피기도 소는 제부터 보이는 거나 참하게 되는 동쪽을 사진을 대바를 동쪽을 서쪽에 통모 줬더니 요 말이 들인지 보는 소는 제부터 그래.
And then one more thing. So if you really love the Buddha, you can use one of those alms bowls, those begging bowls to drink. And every time you see it, you remember the love of the Buddha. Actually, Jigten Sumgön had said that it's not like certain people are allowed and other people are not allowed to drink from this bowl. If you have devotion, faith in the Buddha, then you are allowed to drink from that bowl. Because through this bowl, you recollect the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. So when you see this bowl, you remember the Buddha, and you remember the Buddha's great love. And then when you see the bowl, you also remember the Dharma, which means I have to cultivate love. And then when you see this bowl, you also remember the Dharma, and that is when the Sangha, and that is when when you cultivate love through the Dharma, then whatever you do with body, speech, and mind will naturally become virtues. So you become a Sangha. So through this alms bowl, you recollect the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And personally, it has really benefited me a lot. And it is a way to accumulate great merit, by recollecting the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So therefore, anyone is allowed to drink from an alms bowl like this if you have faith in the Buddha. But other than that, there is no rule of some is allowed, some is not allowed to drink from it. So if you use it this way, it's a great way to accumulate merit.
All your kindness, compassion, through the wisdom, and very special teachings for your generosity is behalf of our Sangha. Thank you very much, Rinpoche. Long life, and stay healthy, and stay longer, benefit more other beings. Be with us always. Appreciate always your teaching. Then also, I want to share the thank you very much, Garchen Institute to the organized teaching, and also Vancouver, Canada, Garchen Center, Maryland, and who's there? Measure, and Gadruma Buddhist Center, Debe, and Mexico, Garchen Enlightenment Stupa Society, Gebelu, and Michigan, Garchen Meditation Center, Ati, and with Dugon Dharmasaya all coming together and join together. So organize together and sharing, we working together. Appreciate everyone. Thank you very much. And the next here, Dugon Dharmasaya, Kong, he going to share something. Please go ahead.
In Kempo, Raul is there too.
Rahul. So Ina, you hear me, Ina?
Yes.
Ina? Okay. Yes. So can you translate for Garchen Rinpoche for me? Zapala. So on the behalf of Dugon Dharmasaya, we would like to express our most sincere gratitude with many Tuyeshe for the love and compassion and the precious teaching that you, Rinpoche, has bestowed today for all of us. All sentient beings, all the six realms, everybody wants to have happiness. But not many really know the true meaning of happiness and how to find the happiness. So, and then we end up with causing endless suffering and endless suffering. So every time we think about that, I think of them, it's very, very, my heart is very, very heavy. So today, all of us are very fortunate to have an opportunity to receive the precious teaching from Garchen Rinpoche. So I wish that all of us can contemplate and practice. Then you can experience and realize and actualize that happiness. And then we can continue to share our experience, our learning with others. Then hopefully the world will be more happier. Everybody, all sentient will be happier, and no more suffering. So I would like to thank you to Kempo Samdak, as always, with all the sister centers, Garchen Buddhist Institute, Christina, Gadroma Debbie, Vancouver, Maryland, also have the many Vietnamese translation like Bodhisattva for Zoom, like Susu Christie, or Rocco Chen from China, and many other names that I don't remember. And also the whole Sangha, the whole world Sangha. The reason I thank you for that, because when you participate in this teaching, it means a lot to us. It means a lot to me too. So you haven't given me the special happiness. I thank you for that. And so we have that mission to contemplate, and then we have to help others as well. And last but not least, Rikung Dhammasya also prepared it for a long while. The special offering, this is a special pendant. Okay, special pendant to Garchen, and this is a pendant. This side is the this side is the liberation by seeing Minecraft, and this side is the white Tara with Apala Garchen, and also the signature of love. That was love is the cause of happiness. So when you wear this. When you wear this pendant, it reminds you to remember the Lama, the Guru, that's our beloved Garchen Rinpoche. Remind us to remember the three jewels, the deities, the view, and ultimately the Supreme Bodhisattva. Then we all can continue practice, diligently practice. Then you can become the cause of happiness for everyone in the world. So, many tachidale to apply. You have a long life, and it's just it's our thank you to everyone once again, and happy tachidale. Thank you. That's all. So we will send it to GBI. It's about 300 and some, and we will ship it to Garchen Buddhist Institute for Apala. Okay, thank you.
Oh, come on, yeah. Come on. What you do? Go to the top of the get the stop the Bachapa. What you took a letter to some to get chase or anything.
Rinpoche said that he's thanking everyone, like the center who has for a long time until today. You have worked so hard and have created so much merit. It's really incredible. And also all the other centers who have done the same. Thank you.
Come on.
So see you tomorrow, and we have a 9 o'clock again the teaching Guru Devotion, and also short Mahamudra teaching tomorrow. Then after 11 o'clock we can join Rinpoche's teaching. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Slower than Empola.
Well, sitting. Rinpoche, tomorrow at 8. Not 9, 8.
Oh, 8. Yes, we have a practice 8.
8.
Yes, practice starting 8.
And where can I